Hello, my name is Chrissy, and I'm a Cajon Valley Union School District parent. I have 3 students at Blossom Valley Elementary School. Recently, there was documents leaked that showed a rough draft plan and a summit meeting that occurred on Saturday. And what we know from this meeting and notes is that it appears to be, like we had anticipated, that their new way forward model is going against the traditional school that we know and love. The idea that things will not return to the way they once were ever in our school district is something that is very disheartening for many parents. We have all been aware and realize the real life ramifications from COVID-19, and that we will have to follow strict guidelines in order to keep our students safe. But what we were hoping is, as guidelines are lifted across the county and across the country, that our school would also return to the traditional model. It appears that that may not be the case. And so this is the time for us to band together, not just as one school as Blossom Valley, but as a Cajon Valley Union School District, and let our voice be heard. If you don't want a traditional model, like most of us do not at Blossom Valley, and like I do not as a parent, we need to have our voices heard. It's hard to decide who to tell, but we have learned over the course of the last few weeks that going straight to the board is the best measure right now. Tomorrow night, there is a board meeting at 5:30 p.m. at 750 East Main in El Cajon. It is imperative that we are all there to show our support of going back to a traditional school. When I say traditional school, it doesn't just mean the hours from 8 to 2, or not allowing people who feel still in danger by the virus to stay in a distance learning model. When I say go back to traditional school, it means that the people who are able to go back to school and the teachers that are able to work go back with the autonomy of having lessons that the teachers love to present, parent involvement on campus, field trips, enrichment programs on campus and available to every student, community support, kids staying with their age group and not being divided by academic levels. That creates a big problem even for many of us with students with IEPs that may suffer in one subject but excel in another. That there is a sense that this looping and flipped school model, when we're doing a lot of learning at home, tends to lean itself to more of a privilege versus potential that we have at school. When we go to school, we have a learning environment that is dictated by the teacher, and they make sure all the kids have what they need and that all students are prepared for the lessons ahead. At home, there are so many variables and so many different types of homes and learning environments that come from distance learning. And we can't guarantee that all kids will have the same environment to succeed in the same way. And that's why we would like to have the traditional model of school brought back, with kids in classrooms and teachers teaching their students in a classroom setting. I would also like to note that students thrive on routine, and it's very important to note that routines are different at home, and even if there are scheduled Zooms, that many of our students are not logging on, which shows that there could be problems in the future if we continue this distance learning model. And that independence also comes from school sites, dropping our kids off and letting them learn with minimum interaction while they're with their teachers and at school. They get a sense of that they can do this, and they don't need their mom and dad's help or whoever their care provider is. When they're doing distance learning at home, we feel more like personal assistants, kind of trying to make sure they're on their Zooms, have their pencils, everything ready, and they're still relying on their primary caregiver for that need. I think that with what we should ask the district is for a traditional reevaluation to go back to traditional school at every trimester, and that we have a plan. We want a draft. They're going to say this is a rough draft, which it is, but we want that draft to include a process and how we transition back to regular school. Now, I know that there was a lot of things in there that we want to nitpick. Some things like calling Blossom Valley parents right-wing or having messages about stay-at-home parents. But I think that kind of loses sight of what the most important thing is, which is we want to go back to traditional school, and that parents often lack the tools that we need to support our children at home. So it's very important that we all show up tomorrow at 5:30, 750 East Main Street in El Cajon. Let's show our support for traditional school. Let's show them that we really want this and we mean business. We want to go back to school, obviously, when all the guidelines are lifted from the CDC. And let's ask for transparency and answers. Do you plan on returning us to a traditional school model? Will you give us that option of an appropriate education? And how can we ask questions and get a town hall meeting after the rough draft or a proposal is given, asking us to dreamcast about dream schools and giving us very little context to the conversation before asking us our opinions is an unfair and unrealistic approach to getting our approval on a process. So I encourage you to message your town hall leaders, which are the board members of our school, and Tamara Otero directly to ask for another town hall once the proposal has been given. So we have an opportunity to really say what we want and what we want to be changed before August. Again, tomorrow, bring signs. We want people live streaming, and we want speakers to speak from all schools, not just Blossom Valley. I encourage you to talk to your community, talk to your other parents, and get a plan in place so that we can make sure traditional school goes back to the way that we love and that we want our children to learn. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.